One thing every side in the Premier League title race needs to address going in to the business end of the Premier League campaign. We're going to cover Liverpool, Arsenal and Man City. One thing that I think needs to improve dramatically for each of those sides to go on and win the Premier League title. But an overview. And I'm gassed, lads. I'm absolutely gassed. A three-horse title race between Guardiola and Klopp, which is incredible in itself. And then Arsenal as well, with the kind of connections to what happened last season with Man City and Arsenal, obviously Arteta and Guardiola. It's unbelievable. All three sides can beat each other on their day, and all three sides are absolutely fantastic. We're going to start off with Liverpool, and this is a pretty basic one, but it's one that obviously will be the fundamental issue if Liverpool don't win the league this season. It will be down to squad fitness, squad rotation, how that squad is handled going into the remainder of the season. Alisson's injured, Jota's injured, Canarsie obviously had a ban a couple of weeks ago. Trent has been in and out of fitness as well. Conor Bradley's come in and been absolutely superb. But with Jota and Alisson in particular, Liverpool are missing fundamental parts of their side. It's so cruel, isn't it? You almost want those injuries early in the season. To get them at this point in the season is like, I think Liverpool fans will bemoan how unlucky they are at points. I think they've had some really bad luck with injuries in the last couple of years. Every side does, don't get me wrong. But Liverpool in particular, Jota, he's been in unbelievable form. And for Liverpool to be potentially missing him, certainly to the end of the season from all accounts, and then going into the start of next season with a brand new manager, crazy for me. But the observation in this video has to be that Liverpool are fortunate. They're blessed. I think they've got more squad options in the front three than Man City and Arsenal combined almost. You know, when Jota's fit, you have him, Núñez, Gakpo, obviously Mohamed Salah as well. Harvey Elliott can play in that front three, and obviously Luis Diaz. So Liverpool have to get more out of the players that are going to deputise for Diogo Jota, in my opinion. Cody Gakpo hasn't scored many goals this season. I think he's on 4 in the league. He obviously scored last weekend, but someone like Cody Gakpo has to step up, in my opinion. He's two-footed. He's technically brilliant. He's got good pace. I don't think we've seen enough from Cody Gakpo, in my opinion. That might be down to position. Maybe he's not being played in the right position. Maybe it's still a factor of he's not really settled into the league to the highest level. I'm sat here thinking he absolutely can do that. I think he's a technically gifted player. He can drop deep, he can link up play. He's a very smooth operator. He reminds me of Thiago a little bit when Liverpool signed Thiago. A bit of a departure from Jordan Henderson, of course. But Gakpo is more of this kind of smooth, you know, classic kind of Dutch player in terms of how technically gifted he is. I want to see more from Cody Gakpo, and I think if he can fire 5, 6, 7 times in the next 12 weeks, let's just say, because Liverpool got some crazy fixtures coming up, then I think Liverpool got a massive opportunity to kind of not fall off because of Diogo Jota. And look at Liverpool. If there's one side that can suffer these kind of setbacks at the business end of the season, it is Liverpool. They play on emotion. They play on the heartstrings. Jurgen Klopp is a genius of kind of getting, motivating players and getting more out of them and juicing them for all they're worth. And I think Liverpool have got absolutely the capability to not even suffer any setback in their results and their performances because of Diogo Jota. The other one has to be Alisson as well. Alisson might be out for a while. He might still feature this season from my understanding, but I think Jurgen Klopp came out a couple of days ago and said that he doesn't really understand when Alisson will come back. I think it's a hamstring tear, which it could be 4 weeks, it could be 8 weeks. And someone like Kelleher is a Liverpool fan favourite. I think he's highly regarded by Liverpool fans. Is he world class yet? Of course not. Not many number 2s are. But I think he's someone that can definitely step up as well. Someone that obviously loves the club, been at the club for a while. And I think it's about him stepping up, Cody Gakpo, and obviously Conor Bradley as well, who's scored a goal. I think he's got 5 assists since he's sort of come into the Liverpool side, sort of seemingly out of nowhere, seemingly out of the academy. So those kind of players, the Kellehers for Alisson, Gakpo for Jota, these guys have to step up. And even someone like Harvey Elliott, for me, players that are on the semi-fringes of the squad. He doesn't start every game, Harvey Elliott. He probably isn't a starter over Curtis Jones, for example. But there will be opportunities, certainly with the Europa League campaign, which Liverpool have to delicately balance. I think there's an opportunity there for fringe players in the squad to get on and start for Liverpool and make a difference when there's been major injuries. We're going on to Arsenal. Maybe this is obvious, I don't know. But I still think Arsenal fans want to see more from their number 9. Saka's chipped in with a goal every other game, essentially. 12 and 24, I think, in the league this season. Martinelli, though, 6 and 23. No, 5 in 23. Jesus has got 4 in 17. Eddie Nketiah has got 5 in 23. That's 1 in 5. You know, for a second choice striker, I don't think he's quite good enough. But at the moment, all you can do is use the players at your disposal. I remember at Man City, you know, there were major injuries. Di Michaelis came in. Now, people slagged off Di Michaelis, but he had a great 3 months for Pellegrini, and he helped City win the Premier League title. Now, I know it's obviously a random comparison, but sometimes these players that are a little bit clunky, they don't quite fit in, might not have a long-term future at the club, can come in and make an impact. I look at maybe Reece Nelson influencing games at the back end of last season when, you know, Jorginho as well. Obviously, that goal against Aston Villa, Reece Nelson against Bournemouth, I think made a big difference. So someone like Eddie Nketiah, someone like Gabby Jesus, they have to step up. And Arsenal have to get more goals from the guy who's playing down the middle. Maybe that is Trossard more and more, especially with Jesus being injured. I think he'll be back relatively soon, don't get me wrong. But Trossard's got 7 in 21 as well. So a lot of these players are kind of averaging 1 goal every 4 or 5 appearances for Arsenal. And I think Arsenal can do a lot more. They've scored so many goals in recent weeks. They could have been the first side in Premier League history to win back-to-back 6-0. Could have been 10-0, really. Let's be real, against Burnley. So Arsenal have to get more out of the player that's playing down the middle of the pitch and get goals from... Arsenal have to get goals from positions where Premier League winning sides traditionally get them, if that makes sense. So, for example, you know, Drogba scored loads of goals for Chelsea, but who's picking up big goals to win the title? Frank Lampard obviously scored a goal to help Chelsea win their first ever title in the Premier League era. I want to see more goals from Kai Havertz, more goals from Odegaard. They're certainly coming. Obviously, Kai Havertz nutmegging people says a lot about the confidence of Arsenal. Says that they're right at the top of their game. But if Arsenal win the title this season, you'll look back and think, how many goals did Havertz get? How many goals did Declan Rice get in big moments? And those numbers are creeping up throughout the season, don't get me wrong. But I think you want to see more goals from those kind of naturalised positions from the Arsenal 11. Now we've got to talk about Man City. Everyone's tipping Man City to get into some crazy form. Obviously, we have been in some crazy form, and dropping points against Chelsea was frustrating. The thing that City have to improve on going into the Premier League title race, and the one factor that could stop City winning 4 in a row, has to be that back line. It's a classic thing with Guardiola. He rotates the back line. He'd do it if everyone was fully fit anyway. But there has to come a point where he solidifies who the back four is and what happens ahead of them. Because the goals the goal that Sterling scored, the 3 that Nicholas Jackson could have had against City, all down to a lack of communication. I'm seeing Akanji and Ake and Diaz all running kind of in blocks and kind of running in groups together. They're not very spread out. There's not much organisation relative to the high standards that City set last season. There has to be a more rigid back line that is ruthless, that know what they're doing. 1 minute it's Gvardiol, next minute it's Ake at left back. 1 minute Akanji's not playing much and he comes back after injury. John Stones in and out from injury. Kyle Walker, I think, is good defensively, incredibly astute, has got good covering pace, of course. Does John Stones come back into right back? Does Akanji come into right back and make that back four an option? But then I do think City do miss something when you have 4 centre-backs playing. Gvardiol, does he come straight back into the side? I don't think he set the world alight. I think he's got a lot of room to improve, but he's only 21 years old. So the City back line has to improve. And then the keeper behind them does as well. Ederson, for me, parries too many shots, takes too many risks. And a lot of City fans would say for the last 5 years, edge of your seat, shitting yourself because you think Ederson's going to make a mistake. He basically never does. In terms of... he might have against Liverpool in 2018 or something when Salah chipped him, I think it was. Yeah, every keeper is going to make mistakes. Alisson probably makes more than Ederson, but then Alisson's shot stopping is so much better than Ederson. Ederson has to stop parrying things. Ederson has to be far more controlling, far more dominating. I wonder if he suffers from playing for the best side in the last 5 years in England. I really do, because I think he hasn't learned how to be rugged. He hasn't learned how to put the top 1% of saves in his locker. I've not seen it enough from City. Maybe it's harsh, but it feels that every shot on target against City is a goal almost. I think Chelsea's almost first shot on target was a goal, I think. But certainly Copenhagen's the week before and games just before that as well. ultimately, the back four has to stop giving away easier chances, especially the ones that Chelsea had. And Edison has to come in and kind of get opportunities to put himself, to kind of show that he is a world-class keeper and he's not just someone that plays for one of the best sides in the world. You want to see a little bit more. I saw it against Inter Milan in the Champions League final. Great goalkeeping instincts. We want to see more of that, I think, at Man City. So those are the three aspects that could hinder all three sides going into the Premier League title race. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. We'd really appreciate that. I'll see you very, very soon.